What's up, amigos? My name is Gabe Paredes, and welcome to the Gabe on the Grind podcast. It's our very first episode, so as you can imagine, I'm a little nervous and also very excited. So today, I'm going to be talking to you about what you can expect from my channel, from my content, what value could I provide to all of you, and number two, what inspired me to actually bring this to the table now. So without further ado, my friends, here we go. Cheers. Hey everyone, thank you very much for sticking around. My name is Gabe Paredes, and I will be the host of the Gabe on the Grind podcast. Very excited, it's our very first episode, so thank you for joining me today. So before we get any further, my friends, who is this podcast designed for? Number one, it's designed for those of you that are aspiring entrepreneurs that maybe are in a phase in your life where you are getting ready to get started and you haven't been able to get out of that phase. That maybe you need a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of knowledge or strategies or information to help you take the first steps to take your goals and your dreams, turn them into action, and eventually reality. Also, for those of you that are current business owners that have maybe hit a wall and are looking to get on that growth mentality again, this podcast is also for you. And lastly, if you are simply somebody that wants to strengthen your mindset as you're navigating through the entrepreneurial world or want to get into the entrepreneurial world, this podcast is also for you. Now, a little bit about me, my friends. I'm 43 years old. I live in Los Angeles, California. I've been in business for a very long time. I currently own a financial planning company that we've owned for the past 14 years. We have over 1,300 agents in 25 states throughout the country. I'm also a restaurant and bar owner. I've been in the restaurant and bar business for the past 7 years. We have 3 active bars and restaurants here in Los Angeles. We've sold one, and we are currently on a growth phase in our business where we want to add more bars and restaurants to our portfolio. And I've been a real estate investor for the past 20 plus years. Now, I tell you all this simply because in preparation for this YouTube channel, other YouTube channels tell you to build credibility. So hopefully I've done that. Now, what is Gabe on the Grind? What value am I going to bring you? Why am I doing this? So Gabe on the Grind is a platform which is going to have 2 series. Number 1 is Shady Biz. Number 2 is the Better Business Podcast. So let's start with Shady Biz. Shady Biz, sometimes we will have guests. Sometimes it's just going to be me sharing some experience, knowledge, stories with all of you. And sometimes we're going to have guests where we're going to share their stories, successful entrepreneurs and their journey through the entrepreneurial world. We're going to share their failures and their triumphs and their successes and their wins and everything they've gone through to help them and gotten them to a point where they're a success for themselves, their family, and their community. I believe these stories are amazing for many reasons. Number 1, they will inspire you. Number 2, they will help you prevent stepping on the many landmines that many entrepreneurs have stepped on that have cost tens of thousands of dollars. So we're going to be sharing this knowledge, this information, and these stories with all of you. Now, on the Better Business Podcast. The Better Business Podcast is something a little bit more tangible information. We're going to talk about mindset. We're going to talk about all kinds of different things. So for example, broker, how to interview a broker, what commission to pay a broker, what lease to sign, how many options should you add to your lease, the do's and don'ts of actually signing a lease. A lease, for those of you that are current business owners, you know how important it is to have the right lease in place. So we're going to be sharing that knowledge with you. Debt versus equity. A lot of times people take on way too much debt at the very beginning of their business where their business is designed for failure, unfortunately. So we're going to be discussing debt versus equity. Sometimes you give up too much equity, which will prevent you from being able to grow in the future. So we're going to have some strategies behind that. What type of corporation to establish, a S Corp, a C Corp, an LLC, what the benefits are, what the hell does all this mean? Also, how to pitch investors. Many people, especially from different less than privileged backgrounds, have big goals and big dreams, but they just don't know how to acquire or present to investors. So we're going to show you how to create sample P&Ls, how to put a PowerPoint together, and how to pitch potential investors. Also, how to build a team. I can't tell you enough how important this is. I remember when I first opened my first bar, I hired just about everybody that was a wrong person on the team. The wrong architect, the wrong broker, I signed the wrong lease, the wrong consultant. Those things were very detrimental to my business. It cost tens of thousands of dollars. Luckily, I had a great support system around me that was able to get us to the finish line, and now being able to grow from there, learn from there, and continue to buy bars and restaurants. So we're going to show you that. Also, something that's very important to me, something that I'm very passionate about, how to acquire funds, how to acquire the money necessary for you to have a legitimate shot at getting your ideas and your dreams into play, into action, and into success. So if you're anything like me, my friends, I am a first-generation American, and sometimes listening to a lot of the podcasts and YouTube channels out there when they have to do with entrepreneurship or business, they talk to everybody almost as if everybody has the same opportunity. And my friends, that is simply not the case. Many of us don't have generational wealth. Many of us don't have a rich uncle that could loan us money. Some of us can't go to the bank and ask for an FDA loan, an SBA loan, I should say. So with that said, we have to think outside of the box and get very creative in finding strategies and ideas on how to acquire funds. So I'm going to share those strategies with all of you. Also, I keep talking about mindset, establishing the right mindset. Some of these episodes are going to be long. Some of them are going to be short. Some of them will have a guest. Some of them won't. But the mindset of a successful entrepreneur is something that I'm always going to have at the forefront of every show. So before we go any further, I want to read you this. What is Gabe on the Grind in a nutshell? Well, here it is. Most aspiring entrepreneurs don't know how to navigate through the overwhelming and costly process of opening a brick and mortar business. So I've created a platform on how to avoid dream-killing expenses and delays, innovative funding ideas and strategies, establishing the proper mindset, and finally, creating the right team to ensure you have a legitimate shot at making your dreams a reality, my friends. So that's what it is in a nutshell. Now, we're going to have great conversations. Some of these conversations are going to put a smile on your face. They're going to make you laugh. They're going to make you cry. They're going to piss you off. But one thing for sure is that you will learn from them. Also, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this now? Well, there's many reasons. As an entrepreneur, as a business person, as somebody that just wants to grow in life, I believe that we have to know why we are doing things. These are the things that are going to be inspiring us to take action and to put everything we have into whatever platform ventures that we venture off into. So with that being said, one of my biggest whys are my parents. My parents grew up in a different country in Mexico. They struggled in Mexico. They worked for peanuts. They wanted a better life. They wanted to have a family. So they eventually made their way to the United States. My brother, sister, and I were born here. They wanted to give the next generation a legitimate shot at having a better future. So their struggles, leaving their families behind, their culture behind, their food, their friends, their language behind, and struggling in this country, doing odd jobs, working in a factory, just doing all kinds of things to give me an opportunity to do something with my life here, I will not let that effort, that sacrifice go in vain. That's a big reason why I do what I do. Also, 2020, the year 2020 beat the hell out of a lot of us. A lot of my personal friends, I saw them sacrifice and risk it all to finally open the doors to their business. And eventually they had to close because they couldn't survive the devastating year that we just experienced in 2020. So that is a big reason why I'm doing this now. I believe that people need this content, this information now. We want to right or wrong. Now, what else? I want to give people with big dreams the information and the knowledge that they feel they need to get their goals and dreams and turn them into action. I know so many people that they're very creative, but they never get their ideas off the ground because they don't know where to start. They don't have tens of thousands of dollars to spend on consultants and architects and this and that to acquire this knowledge. So I want to package it all for you in this podcast series under the Gabe on the Grind, Shady Biz, Better Business podcast to share this information with all of you. Now, lastly, my friends, here is something that you will notice throughout our growth together on this platform. Sometimes we will laugh, as mentioned before. Sometimes we're going to get pissed off, but one thing, we're going to grow. One thing I could assure you is that I will always be straight with you, and I will always do everything in my power for every show, every episode to bring you value. Every so often, you'll see me with one of these guys. I will be taking a sip. Not every channel does that, so if you don't like it, you'll see me do it. Hopefully, you stick around for that. I won't get faded, but I will have a sip here and there. So, lastly, if you like the content, if you feel that you could get some value from what I bring to the table, please subscribe. It would really help me out. This is something that I'm putting a lot of passion and thought and energy and my heart and soul into. So I would greatly appreciate it, my friends. With that being said, thank you very much for joining me on the very first episode of Gabe on the Grind. Cheers, amigos.